Now I am going to describe about the pagination in Laravel. For example, you have a lot of data into your database. So if you want to pull all the data in the same time in the single page, then the query will take more time to load. So in this case, what we use a pagination system, so that a certain numbers of data will be shown in your first page, then certain number of data in your second page. So in this way your data will be shown in the view of the Laravel. So I am going to show you how it works so that you can understand. So this is a fresh Laravel installation. Here I am going to connect my database. So my database name will be Laravel. Now I am going to create PHP artisan. I am going to create migration file. So PHP artisan, then create, for example, I have a student list, so create a students table. You see that PHP artisan, I missed on command, that is make migration. So this one. Now I am going to the database migrations folder. This one is created. Here I am going to add, that is table of string, and here student name will be there, and another one I am going to write, that is, for example, the email. So name and email I want to add. Okay, so now I am going to run php artisan migrate. So I am going to give yes because I want to create a database by the name Laravel. So now if you go to the phpMyAdmin refresh, you see that a new database created by the name Laravel, and here a table is students. If I go here, you see that there is no data here. Now I will add the data into the students table. So in order to do that, I will create a seeder. So php artisan, then make seeder, for example, student seeder. Now seeder is created. I am going database seeders, and here this is student seeder. Here I am going to add a student, but before going to do that, I am going to call php artisan make model. I will create a student model, and also I will create a controller. So here it will be controller, so student controller. So okay, as I create model now, so into the student seeder I am going to call the model, for example, app models, that is student model, and for into the student table I will add the data. So student, and this is, for example, object equal to new student. So here I am going to do another thing, that is I will use a faker of factory as faker, and here I call faker create, and this one I am going to write into here. So here object of name, because the student has two fields, name will be a fake name, it will be create a fake name, and another one will be email. So object email equal to faker email. If you do not understand what I am going to do, you can just go back and see my tutorials on seeder and faker. You will understand it clearly. So here what I am going to do, I am going to add some students. So here I am going to add, for example, I will add here 100 students, for example, equal to 100, then I plus plus. Okay, so like this. Now if I run this, what will happen, 100 students will be created with the fake data. So I am going here into the database seeder, so this call, and here I am going to create a student seeder class. So okay, yeah, now I am going to run in the terminal php artisan db seed. Yes, now let's check if it is added or not. If I refresh the students table, you will see that 100 students are added here. If I go to last page, you will see that total 100 students are added here with name and email. Now what I will do, so now I am just going to create a view to show the pagination system. So I am going to the controllers first, app http controllers, student controller. This is my controller. So public function index is the function, for example, and here I will return a view. So return view. Which view I am going to show? For example, student view. So in my resources views, here I will create student.blade.php. So this is the view. In this view page I will show all the data, so return view, but here I will have to pass the data. So from the student table I will pass all the data. So student equal to student, all student, for example, all students or only students, I can write here students, and this student I will pass into the view. So I am going to use the compact. So here call the students. So I just pull the data from the students table and put it into a variable, and that variable I am going to pass into the view. In the top I am going to call my model. So student is my model. Now I am going to open my routes web.php, and here instead of this I am going to call student controller, then class, and then index, and in the top I am going to call it use app http controllers, then student controller, like this. Now if I just run my home page, what will happen? All the students will be shown here, because it is not showing because I did not put any code here. So in the student.blade.php I am going to use @for is blade directive. So like this, here the students as, then I will call, for example, item or student, single student. Now what will happen? Here I will show all the data. So here student, for example, I am going to show the email only, okay, and then there is a beer. So like this. Now if I refresh, you see that all students data, 100 students are coming here, but I want that it will not come in this space. All students will not come, only first it will show 10 students or 20 students, then there will be a link for the pagination, and then another page like this. So I will now apply here the pagination. So if you want to show all the students using the pagination, then the student get, you will not use like that. I will use here like paginate. This one I will use here. For example, I use here 10. 10 means in each space all the data will come, but in each space only 10 will be shown. If I want to show that, refresh, you see that only 10 data are showing, but there is no link still here I used here. So in order to show the pagination, that means page number 1, page number 2, etc. page number, if you want to show, then in the blade file I will have to call here that student array, that is students. Then I will have to use a by default function, that is links function. Now if I refresh here, you see that the previous, next, etc. are showing. So if you click on next, you see that showing 11 to 12 of 100 results. If you go here, page 1, page 2, etc. are showing. But problem is, you see there is a error message. It comes to the bottom, and here a big style not found, like this. The pagination working, but style is broken. In order to fix this, I am going to the app. In app you see that there is a providers folder, and into the providers folder you will see there is a app service provider, route, etc. service providers. I am going to the app service provider. In the app service provider, in the top I will have to add one line, and into the boot function I will write some code. So into the top I am going to write illuminate, then I use illuminate, then pagination, and then I will have to write paginator. And here into the boot I will have to use the paginator of use bootstrap. If you use this, then the error will gone. If I refresh it, you see that it is working. The style is not actually working. You can just use the CSS and make the code very well. For example, here if you inspect element, you will see that the page link, page item, etc. are here, right? Some classes are automatically added here. So you see that the main class is pagination, and then under that is page item. So pagination, page item, if you want you can use that here. For example, I am going to use a HTML structure, and then here for example style, and this is the page item. Each page item you can use float left, and here this code I am going to cut from here and put it into my body. Now if you refresh, you see that all are coming like this. If you want, you can just remove the style, that list style none. You see that now these are okay. Now you can just make margin left 3 pixel, margin right 3 pixel, something like that. Yes, so I am not going actually to show you how to style, because this is not my target here. Just I want to show that the pagination is work. You see that first 10 students come when the page first time load, question page equal to 1, or if you just write this, you see that the first 10 students are coming here. In order to understand it clearly, here I am going to add another one to concat, that is for example student ID. So ID, and here I am just going to put something like that. So you see 1 to 10. Then if I go to page number 2, you see that 11 to 20 students are coming. In this way, in the last page you see that 91 to 100. If you want that you want to show 20 data in a single page, so I give here 20 in the parameter, and now if I refresh, I am going to the page number 1. You see that total 20 student in first page, into the second page another 20, third page another 20. In this way total 5 page, because I have total 100 students, so 5 into 20 equal to 100, so total 5 pages are showing here. So in this way the pagination works in Laravel.